right, Bears fans, let's talk about what's been going down at training camp, because there's plenty to unpack and a lot of reasons to get excited without losing sight of what really matters on the field. First off, Luther Burden is making some serious noise in practice. And that's exactly the kind of story you want to hear if you've been following the Bears closely. Now, we all remember that Burden had some injury concerns early on. And yeah, even the coaching staff admitted there were questions about how much time he missed and whether it would affect his chemistry with the quarterbacks and the team as a whole. But man, watching him out there, it looks like all those worries are starting to fade away. He's been everywhere during drills, absolutely dominating in one-on-ones, 7-on-7s, and full 11-on-11 sessions. It's the kind of presence that lifts a whole offense, catching passes deep downfield and making tough grabs under tight coverage like it's second nature. He pulled in 5 catches, including a couple of deep bombs, and the more reps he racks up, the more confident and fluid he looks running routes and syncing up with the QBs. Reportedly, he's even caught passes from all 3 of the Bears' quarterbacks during practice, which says a lot about how integrated he's becoming within the system. It's impressive to see him living up to the hype so far, especially given the missed time early on. Obviously, practice is one thing, but this is a good sign for what we might see when preseason games kick off and beyond. Having a reliable slot receiver like Burden also opens up opportunities for the rest of the wide receiver corps. Take DJ Moore, for example, who's been showcased in creative ways, often getting out in space where his playmaking ability really shines. Combine that with Rome Odune's developing connection with Caleb Williams and the steady presence of Caleb Williams, and you could be looking at one of the deepest and most talented receiving groups the Bears have had in quite a while. It might take some time to fully click, but the pieces are definitely there, and it's exciting to think about what this unit could do together once everything gels. Speaking of weapons in the slot, Omid Zaccheaus is another name that's been getting attention. The Bears brought him in before they drafted Burden, and the expectation is clear. He's a versatile threat who adds a veteran edge to the mix. Zaccheaus brings speed and experience, and having both him and Burden competing for snaps and creating mismatches makes the offense more dynamic and unpredictable. There was a notable play recently where Caleb Williams scrambled and found Zaccheaus wide open downfield, showcasing not only the QB's mobility, but also the ability to exploit defensive breakdowns. That veteran presence Zaccheaus provides is crucial, too, especially for younger players like Rome Odune and Burden who are still finding their footing. It's one thing to have talent, but the guidance and confidence that come from veterans can make all the difference in how quickly a receiving group matures and adapts to new schemes. Meanwhile, Caleb Williams is steadily showing signs of growth, stringing together some of his best practices to date. Thursday was reportedly one of his strongest days on the field, where he spread the ball around effectively, targeting multiple receivers including Burden, Zaccheaus, Rome Odune, DJ Moore, and tight ends like Cole KT and Miles Boykin. The offense is starting to find rhythm, which is encouraging after a rough start to camp where there were some obvious growing pains with pre-snap reads and timing. The fact that Williams is distributing the ball all over the place speaks to his increasing comfort in the system and the trust he's building with his teammates. Greg Bragg even highlighted Williams' sharpness, noting his ability to spray the ball and make throws that were fun to watch. A sign that the offense might finally be clicking the way the coaching staff envisioned. One of the biggest stories here is the relationship between Caleb Williams and tight end Ken Loveland. Williams has openly praised Loveland's reliability, pointing out moments where even when the throw wasn't perfect, like a slippery ball, Loveland came through with clutch catches. That kind of chemistry is essential, especially for a young quarterback and a tight end who they want to develop into a key target. Williams talks about Loveland not just as a player, but as a smart teammate who understands the game, someone who's young and still learning, but shows promise with every practice. This bond off the field, with them hanging out socially and building trust, is translated into confidence during games. Having that trust between QB and tight end can open up the offense in ways that stats alone don't show, especially when the defense knows Loveland is a reliable safety valve. That said, it's important to keep expectations grounded. Training camp is where the highlights come from, but it's still practice. The real test comes when the lights turn on and defenses are crashing in with full intensity. 300-pound linemen barreling down, and linebackers shadowing your routes. It's one thing to make plays in a controlled environment, another to consistently do it against NFL caliber competition on Sundays. So while all these developments are promising, the real proof will be in how these players perform when the stakes are high and the game speed accelerates. On the defensive side, Montez Sweat has been a name popping up a lot during camp, and that's a positive sign after a tough statistical year last season. The Bears' defense overall struggled, with key players' numbers dipping across the board, but Sweat seems to be finding his groove again. Reports mention a big sack late in practice and consistent pressure off the edge, which is exactly what you want from a defensive end in a scheme that demands disruption. The chemistry on the defensive line appears to be improving, and Sweat's resurgence could be a catalyst for better overall defensive performances. Alongside Sweat, Ruben Hiplight has also made notable plays in practice, suggesting that the defense might have more depth and playmaking ability than it showed last year. This kind of progress is encouraging as the Bears look to tighten up on both sides of the ball and make meaningful strides in competitiveness. We're hearing positive buzz all around training camp, with both the offense and defense showing flashes of what could be a special season ahead. It's easy to get caught up in hype, and sure, some caution is necessary, but the excitement is justified. The coaching staff, led by Ben Johnson and Dennis Allen, is earning respect for how they're molding this team, especially in how they are developing young talent and implementing a system that maximizes players' strengths. The offensive creativity, paired with a defense that's eager to make plays, sets the stage for a Bears team that could surprise a lot of people. But hey, it's still early days. The preseason games are just around the corner, and that will be the first real look at how all this training camp work translates into live competition. We'll get a chance to see if the offensive sparks and defensive pressures hold up when it counts. For Bears fans, this feels like a season to watch closely, because there's a genuine buzz around the team that hasn't been this strong in years. There's a mix of talent, youth, and coaching savvy that makes this year's squad exciting to follow. Now, shifting gears a bit, I want to bring in some fan voices, because it's always fascinating to hear what people on the outside think about these developments. A recent voicemail from Darius in Dallas really stood out. He touched on something that often divides fans: the idea of creativity versus sticking to fundamentals on offense. Darius made a strong point that creativity in itself isn't bad. It's all about making sense and fitting within the flow of the game. He highlighted how DJ Moore being used out of the backfield reminds him of a versatile playmaker like Deebo Samuel, someone who can run, catch, and keep defenses guessing. Darius likes the idea of using Moore in ways that keep defenses off balance, especially in two-back sets, where you might not know if Moore is going to catch a pass or take off running. That kind of unpredictability is exactly what offenses need to shake things up. He also made a great distinction about gimmicks versus smart plays. He's not opposed to innovation, but he's wary of flashy plays that don't work or break down fundamentals, like what he remembers from some frustrating stretch of screen passes a few years back. The key for him, and it's a fair point, is that everything should be built around a strong running game. If the ground game is solid, then creativity can flourish without losing the core foundation of the offense. That balance is what the Bears seem to be striving for under Ben Johnson's leadership. And Darius's perspective is a great reminder that innovation on offense isn't just about flashy plays. It's about smart, efficient football. When it comes to the defensive backfield, Darius brought up the cornerback 2 spot, pointing out that the competition there feels wide open. He's skeptical about Tyreek Stevenson's hold on the position, and suggests that some of the other candidates, like Nan Wright and Zay Frazier, are making serious cases in camp. It's interesting because Stevenson is a paid player with expectations, but stats alone don't always tell the whole story. Sometimes, a fresh look or scheme fit is what a position needs to improve, and that seems to be the mindset Dennis Allen is taking. The depth and competition at cornerback could be a storyline to watch as the season approaches, and it's encouraging that the coaching staff is keeping the door open rather than settling too early on a starter. There's plenty more to dig into as camp progresses, but this snapshot shows a team that's growing, figuring itself out, and ready to show the league that the Bears are here to compete. The blend of young talent stepping up, veterans leading the way, and coaching that's focused on both fundamentals and innovation is creating a real sense of momentum. Training camp is where you build trust, timing, and toughness, and so far, the Bears seem to be on the right path. So buckle up, because this season promises plenty of drama, excitement, and hopefully some long-awaited wins for Chicago. I'll keep tracking all the developments, breaking down practices, and sharing what's behind the scenes as the Bears chase a turnaround. If you want to stay in the loop, keep checking in, and we'll ride this wave together. Let me know if you want me to dive deeper into any specific position groups or talk more about the coaching strategies. There's so much happening that the story is just getting started. Absolutely. Let's dive into the second part of this deep look at the Bears training camp and the evolving storylines that have the fan base buzzing. After the encouraging signs from the offense and some solid flashes on defense, it's important to examine the underlying themes and how this team is shaping its identity as it heads toward the regular season. There's a lot more going on beneath the surface beyond just the highlight reel plays, and understanding those nuances will give a clearer picture of what this Bears squad might become. One of the biggest shifts this year has been the culture around the team. The Bears are no longer the same group that struggled with inconsistency and lack of confidence last season. From the moment camp started, there's been an evident change in the atmosphere. Players seem more engaged, coaches are more communicative, and the whole organization is rallying around a vision that feels authentic and attainable. It's the kind of vibe that doesn't just happen by accident. It's built through leadership, accountability, and a shared commitment to getting better every day. Coaches like Ben Johnson have emphasized discipline and fundamentals, but also encouraged players to be creative and play with passion. That balance has fostered an environment where younger players can grow without fear, and veterans can lead by example rather than just voice. This cultural shift is crucial because football is a team sport at its core. Talent alone doesn't win games. Chemistry and trust between players and coaches are often what tip the scales. The Bears are working hard to build those relationships. There are stories circulating about late-night meetings, extra film study, sessions, and voluntary workouts that show the players aren't just going through the motions. They want to be here and they want to compete. That kind of dedication tends to translate to the field in subtle ways. Sharper route running, better communication on defense, and a relentless attitude on special teams. Speaking of special teams, it's worth noting that this unit, often overlooked, has been showing some promising signs. Field position battles, coverage consistency, and the return game can swing momentum in tight contests. And the Bears are putting a premium on making sure they don't leave points on the board. Offensive line play is another area where progress is noticeable. Last year, the Bears struggled to protect the quarterback and open holes for the run game consistently, but there's an effort underway to fix those issues. The coaching staff has been tweaking schemes to maximize the strengths of the line, and players themselves are reporting that the communication has improved dramatically. Practices have featured more coordinated drills focusing on pass sets and run blocking techniques, and you can see the difference when watching film. Fewer breakdowns, better timing, and a more cohesive unit. It's not perfect yet by any means, but the trajectory is upward, which bodes well for giving Caleb Williams more time to make plays and for the running backs to find lanes. The running game, as Darius pointed out in his voicemail, is the foundation. If the Bears can establish a consistent ground attack, it will open up the play-action game and keep defenses honest, which is vital for this offense's success. Speaking of running backs, the backfield competition is heating up. The Bears have a mix of veterans and younger players vying for roles, and it's creating a competitive environment that should bring out the best in everyone. There's a push for versatility too. Backs who can run between the tackles, catch, passes out of the backfield, and contribute on special teams. That kind of multi-dimensional skill set fits the offensive philosophy of flexibility and unpredictability. Early reports suggest the coaching staff is leaning toward rotating backs more frequently to keep legs fresh and defenses guessing. This could be a key to maintaining offensive balance and tempo, especially in the late stages of games where conditioning and depth often become deciding factors. Looking at the defensive backfield, the cornerback competition remains one of the most intriguing storylines. Tyreek Stevenson, despite being a high-profile signing, is facing intense scrutiny and pressure from younger players like Nan Wright and Zay Frazier. It's a classic case of the NFL's meritocracy at work. No matter your contract or reputation, you have to earn your snaps every day. This competition is pushing all the corners to elevate their play, and it's making the secondary sharper. In coverage drills and live sessions, the Bears' defensive coaches are known for emphasizing technique and fundamentals, and players are responding by refining their footwork, hip turns, and ball skills. If the young corners can step up and make plays, it would significantly bolster a defense that struggled with coverage lapses last season. The ability to lock down receivers or at least limit big plays is critical in the modern NFL. And that's where the Bears are trying to make a big leap. Safety play is another piece of the defensive puzzle that's getting attention. The Bears have some young safeties who are athletic and eager to prove themselves. Their challenge is to develop consistency in reading offenses, supporting the run, and providing deep coverage when called upon. Coaches are drilling them on communication and assignments, aiming to create a more cohesive backfield that can handle the diverse threats they'll face week after week. The safety's progress will directly impact the linebacker play too, as those two units need to operate in sync to avoid coverage breakdowns and minimize missed tackles. Speaking of linebackers, there's been solid talk about how the Bears are using a mix of speed and power to improve their run defense and pass rush support. The team's emphasis on versatility continues here, with linebackers expected to cover tight ends, blitz, and play the run aggressively. The integration of these roles is a work in progress, but the early signs show increased awareness and hustle, which is a positive change. Special teams deserves another nod because it often doesn't get the headlines but can make or break close games. The Bears have been working on coverage units, kickoff returns, and punt returns with meticulous detail. Coaches stress discipline and lane integrity, and the players are buying in. A few standout performers have emerged, and there's hope that this phase will be more reliable and even a weapon this season. In an NFL where field position is king and a single big return can shift momentum dramatically, improving special teams could translate into some valuable wins. Another layer worth discussing is the quarterback room dynamic. Caleb Williams, while the clear starter, is surrounded by a mix of experienced backups and young prospects. This creates a healthy competition that benefits the whole offense. Backup QBs are pushing Williams in practice, forcing him to sharpen his decision-making and adjust on the fly. It's a grind, but it's also a necessary pressure valve that keeps the starter on his toes. The QB coaches are highly involved, breaking down film, refining footwork, and emphasizing quick reads. It's a holistic approach designed to help Williams develop not just as a passer, but as a leader on the field. His progress in this environment is one of the biggest factors in how the offense will perform once the season starts. On the coaching front, the Bears staff has been receiving praise for the way they balance teaching fundamentals with encouraging creativity. Ben Johnson's offensive schemes are designed to adapt to the strengths of the players rather than force them into a rigid mold. This flexibility allows playmakers like DJ Moore and Luther Burden to thrive while still maintaining structure and discipline. Defensive coordinator Dennis Allen has instilled a mindset of aggression tempered with discipline, pushing the defense to be disruptive without overcommitting. That balance is difficult to achieve, but the coach's ability to communicate and adjust on the fly is a big reason a team looks more cohesive than last year. It's also worth noting the role of analytics and technology in this camp. The Bears are leveraging data to track player performance, fatigue, and injury risk. This information is helping coaches tailor practice reps, rest schedules, and recovery protocols, which is increasingly important in a sport as physically demanding as football. Players have reported feeling the benefits of these adjustments, noting that they're coming into practice fresher and more prepared. This approach not only helps maintain player health, but also improves the quality of reps, which translates into better on-field performance. Off the field, the Bears organization is making efforts to connect with the community and build a stronger fan base. Community events, player appearances, and social media engagement have all ramped up, creating a positive feedback loop between the team and its supporters. This kind of engagement builds morale and creates a home field advantage that can't be underestimated. Players often talk about the energy they get from the crowd, and the Bears are clearly trying to cultivate a passionate and supportive environment. One more point to touch on is the mental and emotional aspect of the game. Football is as much a mental battle as it is physical, and the Bears are investing in mental conditioning coaches and programs to help players handle the pressure, maintain focus, and build resilience. This holistic approach to player development reflects a modern understanding of what it takes to succeed at the highest level. Players have responded positively, with many citing improved confidence and mental toughness as key factors in their preparation. As the preseason games approach, all these pieces will be tested under real game conditions. It's one thing to look good in practice and quite another to perform when the scoreboard is ticking, the crowd is roaring, and every play matters. The Bears' depth, culture, coaching, and talent will all be put to the test. And that's when the true character of this team will emerge. The early indicators are promising, but consistency and execution at game speed will be the ultimate judges. For now, fans can enjoy watching a team on the rise, full of potential and ambition. The Bears are building something that feels different, more focused, more cohesive, and more determined. It's an exciting time to be a supporter, and the journey promises to be full of ups and downs, drama and triumph, but most importantly, progress. The Bears are no longer just hoping to improve. They're setting the stage to compete and win. This next chapter in their story is unfolding right before our eyes, and the best part is that it's just getting started. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In what could be a game-changing move for the Chicago Bears, whispers around the league suggest that the team is eyeing veteran guard Brandon SCHERFF to bolster their offensive line for the 2025 season. The Bears, freshly committed to building around rookie quarterback Caleb Williams, appear to be prioritizing his protection as a top concern. SCHERFF, who has long been regarded as one of the most reliable interior linemen in the NFL, would bring both experience and grit to a Bears line that has struggled in recent years to maintain consistency and toughness in the trenches. Though nothing has been officially confirmed, several league insiders report that conversations between SCHERFF's camp and the Bears front office have intensified over the past few weeks. If true, this move signals that the Bears are serious about creating a stable environment for their franchise quarterback to develop. With SCHERFF anchor in the interior, Williams would have more time in the pocket, a cleaner view of the field, and most importantly, the confidence to execute the offense without fear of constant pressure. While still categorized as a rumor, the potential signing of SCHERFF could mark the start of a new, more disciplined offensive era in Chicago. The potential acquisition of Brandon SCHERFF by the Bears has set off a flurry of speculation across both NFC North insiders and national analysts. SCHERFF, a 5-time Pro Bowler, has spent the past few seasons with the Jacksonville Jaguars, where he solidified himself as a leader on and off the field. At 33, SCHERFF may be past his physical prime, but his technique, football IQ, and leadership are attributes that a young quarterback like Caleb Williams could benefit from tremendously. Some insiders speculate that the Bears are attempting to replicate the blueprint used by other franchises that have successfully nurtured young quarterbacks, surrounding them with veteran linemen who can both protect and mentor. It's a formula that worked wonders for quarterbacks like Andrew Luck and Joe Burrow early in their careers. While no formal offer has been made public, multiple sources close to the situation suggest that both sides are open to negotiations, with the Bears potentially offering a short-term, incentive-laden deal. The rumor mill indicates that Chicago's coaching staff is enthusiastic about adding a player of SCHERFF's caliber to the locker room, not just for his on-field presence, but for the culture and professionalism he brings with him. Although nothing has been finalized, the possibility of Brandon SCHERFF joining the Bears has sparked optimism among fans who have long lamented the team's inability to protect its quarterbacks. Caleb Williams, selected first overall in the 2024 NFL Draft, represents a new dawn for a franchise that has historically struggled to find a long-term answer at the quarterback position. The potential pairing of Williams and SCHERFF is viewed by some as a stabilizing force, an essential building block that could finally allow the Bears' offense to find rhythm and identity. Analysts point out that last season, the Bears ranked near the bottom in sacks allowed, often stalling drives, and putting unnecessary pressure on a developing quarterback. A seasoned presence like SCHERFF could dramatically alter that narrative. While General Manager Ryan Poles has remained tight-lipped about any pending transactions, there's a growing belief that SCHERFF's signing could be one of several moves, aimed at fortifying the offensive line. For now, the idea remains speculative, but if executed, it could prove to be one of the savviest off-season decisions in recent Bears history. The thought of SCHERFF lining up alongside a rebuilt line is already capturing the imagination of the fan base and drawing quiet applause from league observers. There are whispers that SCHERFF himself is intrigued by the possibility of joining a historic franchise like the Bears at this stage in his career. A chance to mentor a rising star like Caleb Williams while contributing to a project with real upside could be an attractive proposition for a veteran who has already made his mark individually. Sources close to SCHERFF have suggested that he's looking for a meaningful final chapter. A team where his experience can directly influence success, not just collect another paycheck. Chicago, with its storied legacy and hunger for a new identity, may offer that ideal setting. There are also rumblings that the Bears coaching staff, particularly offensive line coach Chris Morgan, is advocating hard for the move, viewing SCHERFF as the missing piece that could tie the unit together. While skeptics will argue about the potential decline in SCHERFF's physical capabilities, supporters emphasize that elite linemen often remain effective into their mid-30s, especially when paired with a supportive scheme and veteran-smart play calling. If the Bears manage to pull off this signing, it may be less about headlines and more about building a rock-solid foundation, something the team has lacked for far too long. For now, the story remains in the realm of speculation, but it's gaining traction by the day. The Bears' commitment to Caleb Williams is clear, and the rumored interest in Brandon SCHERFF may be the first visible step in transforming that commitment into real structural support. The idea that SCHERFF could be the linchpin in a revamped offensive front speaks volumes about the team's evolving philosophy. Instead of betting on youth and potential alone, Chicago might finally be leaning into the value of proven experience. With the NFC North growing increasingly competitive, every roster decision becomes more crucial, and a player like SCHERFF could be the edge the Bears need to shift the power balance. For Caleb Williams, having a veteran of SCHERFF's stature in front of him could mean fewer hits, more time to develop, and the chance to play his brand of dynamic, confident football. Whether this rumor materializes into a headline remains to be seen, but the possibility has already begun reshaping the offseason narrative in Chicago. In a league where protecting the quarterback is paramount, this potential signing could be the boldest, smartest insurance policy the Bears have taken in years. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.